Why are you up?
Because I got some important shit going on here. What do you think?
Boom, the world class.
Bam. Let's get with it. I don't even know how long this is, to be honest with you.
Look at your face. I'm thinking.
This is like, wow, whoa. It's long.
Look at my. I still.
All right, hold up. Let's do this because I don't want to get started and forget and shit. So we're gonna do the little YouTube shit. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. If you hit the replay, share it out. Put it on your community tab. I appreciate you. We're gonna drop the link. Ret, R-E-T, like grandmama and them said. When I was young, I had a lot of old people from the South, like from North Carolina. And that's my favorite accent. Well, no, my favorite accent is the New Orleans accent. Like that's the best. That's the sexiest accent in the world. So when them girls be doing it, Lord have mercy. And them jeans down there, go down there and get lost. Come upstairs and get my leg from under the bed right now. Rat. Type rat in the chat. I'm gonna type rat. Rat nah. So I don't even know the full reason they had this, but we just I'm blindly gonna go in it. They say French around, wrench it off. What? But it was some stuff that Hafeez said in this interview. It wasn't even the stuff that he said. It was just how rude he was, and that's what caught my attention. And it's like his mentality and his agenda kind of gets revealed, has been revealed to a lot of people. I seen Palmer do a few of these, like 2 of these lives on him, talking about what he said last year. I don't really care what he said last year, but we do active listening over here. Y'all don't watch me trash people in debates, and I like debates. Coach Greg Adams is the first type of setting I seen him in, so I want to see how he do. So we're gonna watch this together. That's how we say it in Baltimore. I'm gonna type it. That's how we say it in Baltimore. Together. That's how we say it. Well, it's actually together. Let me say it the right. Over West we say. You got to be get. If y'all didn't know, I've titled this sector the battlesphere, and then Pookie and Ray Ray are welcome over here. All right, and we don't care about what y'all got going on over there. Y'all can be high value deadbeats and all that shit, whatever y'all want to be. Shout out to Palmer. Lego.
People look at my chocolate skin. That's going to tell you how old somebody is.
If I look at your face, I'm thinking 36.
Right.
Looking at your beard, I'm thinking 119. Yeah. I don't know, brother.
Hey, man, that comes from this comes from almost a decade of marriage.
Exactly.
And then a couple of years of divorce. So that's what's going to happen from there.
Well, respect. Yeah. Well, because I've been watching so much of your content, I want to start right where basically when I first heard this, I was like, who said that? And then they said it was you. It was something called protecting your meat. Have you heard about this? Protecting your meat. And meat standing for your money, your energy, your attention, and your time. And basically you've said that all relationships are transactional and that meat is the value that you're given to women. So break down what this meat is and how can men protect their meat.
Well, the funny thing, when you use that phrase, protect your meat, obviously people are going to think, what? You know
exactly.
what I mean? But I try to use that as a metaphor to say, try to show men where your value is. A lot of times people will give men an idea, there's other things that are included in this, but it all boils down to, especially when you get to a point of marriage, what is your meat, your energy that you're going to put in? Typically men give energy to women. Women pretty much they don't reciprocate that back. I've never seen many men that spend a significant time with women and then come out energized, even in the bedroom. Most of the time they're going to probably fall asleep within 15 minutes. But in terms of attention,
hey, that's actually true. Yeah. Man, after like 2, 3 weeks of living with a chick, niggas walk different. They be slow. They be missing shots on the court. Nigga can't run routes no more. He don't want to go to the store. Oh, cause all that cum gone.
If you remove any of these things, attention, if you remove these things, you lose the marriage, right? Time is a significant value for men. And matter of fact, we call it, and also Napoleon Hill calls it, your most important asset. And many men will spend hours on end pursuing relationships.
What's up, Tommy B? What's going on with you, bro?
What's happening, folks?
You got your volume back up?
Yeah, I think so. I can hear this.
Eval.
That's a picture. I want to see her live.
Oh!
See, I want to see it live. Like,
Yeah, that nigga sounded like a straight creep with that.
shout out to Couch Gang. We in here. Yeah, so you know a little bit about this little debate they had? Or...
Nah, so like Coach Greg, I've heard his name. I haven't gotten to watching his videos yet. And then Hafeez, dude, I have no idea who he is. I just started hearing his name out of nowhere with the Pearly Things name. And then that's how he got on my radar. But Coach Greg Allen, I've been meaning to get to his channel. I haven't got to his channel yet.
Yeah, he one of the guys that I've actually been watching. So I've really been into this space through Palmer channel, right, Mr. Palmer. So them two are pretty cool. Now I haven't really watched his content a lot, but I've watched certain things he says. I haven't really found anything like I did with the other one. So he's pretty cool. I didn't even know he had a until just now. I tagged him in this. I didn't know he had 200-something thousand subscribers.
Yeah, me either. When you tagged him, I went to his channel. I was like, damn, he's doing numbers.
No, I did, but I do remember that his. It could be even that channel. It got demonetized for stuff that he was saying, so he'd be pushing the Cash App a lot. That's
so in your suggestions, it's a bunch of his channels popping. I mean, a bunch of his interviews popping up. He got interviewed by what's his name, Patrick David from Valuetainment.
Yeah.
So that dude. He interviewed pretty big dudes. I mean, he got one of the last Kobe interviews.
He got one of the last Kobe interviews.
Yeah, the Patrick David dude from Valuetainment.
Oh yeah. He did the Andrew Tate shit.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen.
He was one of the first. Yeah, I think he was the first dude to interview Andrew Tate since he got banned.
Oh, okay. You know what? No, I think I saw it. Did you play that? Somebody played that.
Yeah, I played that.
This nigga he got canceled.
Yeah.
They brought that nigga from Uber. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This nigga can't catch a Uber, dog.
That shit crazy. Imagine having 100 million talking about, well, shit, 1 million talking about, can I use your Uber? Can you call me an Uber? Like, what? What do you mean? That's crazy. They blocked it. So I'll look at that way worse than Kanye shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that, so when I see like the Kanye, like I don't like the way they treating him. But when I seen Andrew Tate, I said, no, that's canceled. Like that nigga got deleted off the metaverse. I've never seen that before.
The nigga got some shit called Rumble. I still haven't checked it out that he on. He been reeing up over there. I think Twitch kicked him too. Because what he had a lot of his followers and his shit reposting him and everything. But yeah, so this thing is, I don't really know what the talking points is in this, but I kind of want to see what their back and forth is about when they get into these topics. But let's rock out. Appreciate you jumping up here with me.
For sure.
Obtaining relationships, keeping the relationship alive, and then many times they will lose the relationship if they stop giving the time. Now, the money part of it, everybody knows it's all transactional. You know, you've had girlfriends, you've tried to pursue women, you're going to give up money. Now, it's not a bad thing that the relationships are transactional. So when I say relationships are transactional, it's not a complaint. Many people think it's a complaint, but it's just a reality. And we have to accept that reality.
Gotcha. Have you? So you've never seen Coach's content ever? Really?
I'm aware of almost everybody in the space, kind of where Coach is at. A lot of people, I may have heard ideas from other people, but I don't think I've actually sat down and watched anything from like online. I may have seen like videos or like reactions to certain people, but I've never actually sat down and said, okay, let me sit down and hear him. From my memory, it may have occurred in the past, but from my memory, I can't like quote ideologies or philosophies that he holds currently.
But when you hear someone say, all right, protect your meat, and you're hearing him break that down, what's the first thing that comes to mind to you?
It sounds good. You know, like I think everyone should protect their money. Everyone should protect their time. Right? Like, I think that sounds good. It's just, how is that fleshed out? That's what I'm curious about, right? Because I think sometimes, what I love about what you do so much, Adam, and I have to shout out what you're doing, is that you bring in people from different sides. You know, I'm really interested in, you know, hearing more about your life. I think it's an interesting dynamic, mom and OnlyFans. Were you the one who sat down with Ruslan?
I was.
Okay,
I
so,
love to
I love what you do, Adam, because what you do is you provide an opportunity from different people to hear a myriad of ideas. I feel like a lot of times people on the internet sit in these silos of this one type of content, one type of information. And so to me, I'm very interested in hearing all the unique different ideas so that the men can sit down and choose what is actually the best. What is actually going to tangibly improve people's lives? Because to me, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's from me or Greg or Adam or Allie. If the information makes you a better man, makes you a better father, you may not feel this way, but makes you a better husband, if it makes you better, that's a win. I don't care who it comes from.
So the fundamental difference I'm seeing now is not only that, like me, I haven't watched a lot of Coach Greg Adams stuff, but I think it's assumed that people have watched Hafeez when I really haven't. I seen that one interview when Kevin was on, and I stopped watching it because they just look like copycats, which that can be said about a lot of dudes in this space. But so I guess we can see now from seeing other videos that the other side is going to be getting married versus not getting married. So I think that's the road we're going down with this.
And so I love the ability.
You about to say something?
No, I was gonna say, who's the lady? I haven't seen her before.
I don't know her. I know the other dude was in the guy you was talking about, Patrick PBD, I think his name, something Patrick something Davis. I know him from that. They had a good interview. I've never seen her before. She may be a regular on the channel, but that channel is linked in the description, and this video is linked in the description too. Jenny says, I love Coach Greg Adams' message. He has very funny references. Yeah, he got, peace leave. He coined that. I think he coined son husband. So he definitely made an impact in this space. So it's kind of like you either with I don't even know, bro. I don't really know what the little hierarchy is in this space, but I do know that it's like you got the O'Shea, you got, I guess, Angry Man, and you got Tommy, and then it's like him. I don't know who brought who in. I don't know that relationship, but his language is completely different from the rest of these guys. He's not walking around talking about disingenuous every 2 seconds. He has said the high value man and stuff, though. I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah, I think O'Shea is like pretty much, from my understanding, like the top. He's the one that gave us like the TLAs, the what's his name, KS, and a bunch of these cats. So that's from my understanding. He's pretty much, as far as for the black manosphere, towards the top.
Got it.
Of unique ideas to being able to be discussed today, and I just hope the best idea always wins.
I love that. And here's what I'll say, and I appreciate that, Hafeez. I'm not an ideologue, okay? I'm a person who I'm more of an arbiter of conversation, an arbiter of truth, an arbiter of dialogue. I want people to have conversations, and sometimes they might be uncomfortable conversations. Sometimes they might say, you know what, coach, you ain't no shit, in the audience right there. And the Hafeez, man, bro, I gotta tell you, respect, bro, but you're an idiot, bro. Or Allie, you're gorgeous, but you shouldn't be doing this. Or all good. Everyone, different strokes for different folks. But at the end of the day, what we want is the audience to get clear on what they want in life. That's why we say we want to get you paid, laid, and do it your way. it's your one life. I don't want you to have to live a life that's not yours. Okay, and there's so many people walking on eggshells these days, and there's so many people that are just basically trying to transform what they should say or shouldn't say. And on a show like this, it's like, just do you.
And to be fair, to your point here, a lot of men are kind of pushed into one direction based on a few things. And some people will say, hey, don't you want to get married? Don't you want to have kids? And a lot of men are uncomfortable with it because of what comes with it. And people will not really include what that is. And then he finds himself in it. And then he finds himself alone when it doesn't work out. The people that kind of told him to go that way obviously leave him hanging. And that's where a lot of the frustration comes from. So it's a beautiful thing that now, in the first time in 70 years, men have the microphone. We have the power.
For the first time in how long?
70 years.
What do you mean the first time in 70 years?
Well, if you think about it, you're old enough to remember this. You remember Ricky Lake? You remember Sally Jesse Raphael? You remember Oprah Winfrey?
Yes.
At that time, there was no counter opinion. There was no opportunity for men to say anything, even if.
What do you mean? There was Phil Donahue, and there was
and you know
Dr. Drew has been around forever.
Well,
people before that.
Those guys don't. Those guys.
Jerry Springer, yes.
You know, in order to survive, they tended to pander towards the consumer, and so thus
you're saying they weren't real men.
Well, I'm not saying they weren't
Montel
real
might
men.
hear this right now.
See, I'm not here to challenge anyone to a physical fight or challenge their masculinity. However, we know how to survive in those environments, and that means you can't be overly masculine. You have to present a side that's going to address the consumer to sell dishwater or dish shampoo and that type of thing. So what's happening is men had to create their own lanes, essentially jump on YouTube and other platforms to get the mic to be able to say what they want to say without being canceled. So this is the beautiful time we live in, because now we get to see it. Even if you don't agree with it, you get to see at least another perspective, and it can't really be shut down, but it can be shut down.
I feel you on that.
I like how he handled that. I like the conversation. I like the way the interviewer is, calling stuff out early. Yeah, I like how he handled it. It was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I like how he ain't had to dog them dudes out either. He said the truth. Like, they kind of had to do what they had to do to please advertisers and stuff like that. Where some of these dudes who, don't know how to say shit without dissing people, would have been like they weren't real dudes or they were sellouts and this and the other. So yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth, and guys take notes. Younger guys take notes. You don't let nobody trick you into a conflict, especially when you're not prepared, especially when you're not on your home turf. Well, you know what I'm saying? This shit forever, bro. Like,
especially when you ain't really got a conflict. Shit. Like,
facts. I don't know, man. Stop me no argument with no dude that I don't even got a problem with.
I will say that, as a dude, I'm with you. Like, I've tried to be like, as a dude, yes, but also as like a host of a show, there's a lot of guys out there who probably agree with you, but if there's women out there, be like, this motherfucker just said that men have been muzzled for the last 70 years.
And they don't realize it.
Do you think that men have been muzzled? Or do you think more women have been muzzled for the last 70 years?
I certainly don't feel like men have been muzzled for 70 years. I think there's been, plenty of, like you stated, women like
Savage, what up?
Shows and such like that. I don't know that those platforms were used on either side really to voice the things we're talking about today. I just don't think people talked about it as openly as they do. Most of those were, as you said, around consumer or what was going to be catchy or get the audience's attention. Where I think today, like, there's just more of an open.
I ain't edit this shit at all. I just grabbed it. That's a free advertising.
Yeah, women
platform for people to actually have these
been
conversations.
Advertiser friendly, so I don't know what she talking about.
Facts, because they're not narrowing it, and that's what I liked about. Another thing I liked about what Coach Greg Adams did was he framed his position and his argument about obviously having a problem with marriage around, at the end, when it's done, we've seen enough results where dudes having a problem here. Then he actually handled that objection that we was just talking about with putting it in the eyes of the consumer, when we're really talking about we got the mic being in the public in a type of business communication setting, not having control in the private, not little private shit, not family, in the house type of shit. Is really the relationship we have with the public. We haven't had that voice. It's been in the hands of somebody else. It's really been in the hands of females. because they are the number one consumer. They 73? You probably hear it in this. It'll probably come up in this live. They make up 73, if not 72%, of all retail, which is crazy. Shit, mind-boggling to me.
And I think, I know it all too well. I'm judged every day, and it goes back to, like you stated, living your own life, living your own walk, and everyone has their own ideas. Nobody's word is law, and I think that's where a lot of people are getting confused today. It's like, this is meant.
Well, that's wrong, because there's a lot of people whose word is law, especially arbiters and private owners. So I don't like. What do you mean? Like it's just little open-ended acts of rebellion like that from these females, these modern females, average females, I should say. It's just in their habit to just be treacherous, because that shit she said was wrong.
And when that judge dropped that sentence, that's law.
Facts. So that nobody shit is your intention to never listen to nothing somebody says is not in alignment with your consumer experience. I learn how to decode the dumb shit.
To be an open dialogue, so you can kind of feel where you feel like is a good fit for you or where you would fit in, but there's just too much of this. It's not always black and white, and I think I'm a perfect example of that.
What's up, Sporty?
I'm a wife, a mother, and I am doing something that is quite taboo for who I am. But I do it well. I balance the two. Nothing's really changed in my life outside of what I'm doing. And so I think I enjoy doing these type of shows because it does give me the opportunity to really show a different light to the industry, a different light to me as a person. I mean, who I am, Allie Ray, is very different who I am in real life, prior to this. And I think that's just the side that people don't get to see. And so it's always...
something that I've got a cue cards and everything, and I'm just kind of throwing, but kind of all over the place here. But I find it interesting. You were married 9 years, okay? And on the 10th day, he got out, kind of a thing. You've been married 20 years.
Almost 22.
22 years. If I had a cocktail, I'd cheers to you. And you've been married 1 year, okay?
Yeah.
And I was in a long-term relationship, single now, all good. What I want to know is, of your friends that have been married somewhat as long as you, I'm not saying as long as you, how many, let's say you have 100 friends. Let's just say 10 friends, just to kind of keep it simple. How many are still married? How many are happily married? How many are like, I just can't wait to be like Coach over here and just, I'm looking, if we're in the 8th inning, I'm trying to get out before the game's over, kind of a thing. If you would break that down.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting that I don't have very many friends, well, obviously because of my industry now, but even prior to that, because the friends that I did have that were in marriages, I've always been happy in marriage.
To be honest.
Exception.
The exception to the rule, correct. But what I'm also understanding is that a lot of your women, 8 out of 10 are basically in this marriage where they're upset.
I offer. I tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is very. Remember.
Shows like this, men kind of need to be like the man running the show, tell these women what's up. But, women have a voice in this perspective as well. Yeah. And they're kind of being the complaining behind the scenes. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I want everybody to understand. I'm going to look into this camera right here, so I hope you see me very well here. I want everybody to understand and remember that everything I say from this point, she backed it up, all right? So it's basically zero, all right? You have no hope, no chance. Past the 20 years, and that comes from experience. It also is the experience.
You have no chance of passing 20 years, you're saying?
No. You can pass 20 years. Yeah. You'll probably be roommates, and you'll probably be overweight in a busted Pillsbury biscuit can, or you'll probably be the exception to the rule. But the data shows us, plus the experience that she expressed, that it's a very difficult thing. And this is what I want men to know.
Yeah.
It is very difficult. Many people will simplify it for you. They will say, oh, just do this and do that, and they will lead you on a wild goose chase. And that's my perspective. That's all that I offer. I tell men to not get married, especially when you don't have leverage. However, I also tell you, do not listen to people who simplify this. This is a very complicated thing that most people fail at miserably.
Got it.
And this is what I want people to understand.
Let me tee up Hafeez, because you used a few things there about not getting married.
Yeah.
You said sometimes
if you
you'll
don't
turn
have leverage.
Okay, if you don't have leverage, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And you talked about turning into roommates. Well, this guy is the roommate, the host of the Roommate channel.
Right.
When you're hearing this, you've been married 1 year. And by the way, this guy's a sharp, informed, very intentional guy. My assumption is he didn't just trip and fall into marriage.
He's seen myself before.
Okay.
Okay, when you say sharp, Okay, that looks like the design of the little cloth that be on the table at the diners, and they just say diner. It don't even got to give a good name. I don't think this is sharp. Okay, I just want
Yeah,
to.
me neither. Yeah,
This
that ain't it.
it's also not a that's not an FBA hairline, as they say.
I was just about to go to that. Okay, you right ahead.
But
I was just about to say.
full transparency, I think I heard that this is he's a Nigerian, so
Then that explains the chop. Okay.
hold up, Jenny. Hold up, Jenny. I got you.
Bang, 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 bang.
Another one.
Bang, 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 bang.
Dom the Monko. Dom the Monko. Shit like that.
Not sharp as a doll now. Yeah, he a full-blooded Nigerian. He got that Trigger Mike haircut. Y'all niggas is banging on.
Bang, 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 bang.
I fucks with it. Y'all know I'm with the shits. Any day of the week, twice for Sunday. So yeah, I had to rebut that. I don't see the sharpness there. And yeah, let's just go from here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you've been very you're a calculated dude.
100%.
Okay. So when you're hearing Greg say this,
Yeah.
and even when you're hearing Allie say this, how are you processing this
No,
information?
this is really good, and I'm excited about how this conversation can develop because I think you've maybe did you react to me and AMS's conversation a couple of years ago about marriage?
I didn't react to it. I didn't do a reaction video.
Okay.
But yeah, I made a comment about it.
Okay, you made a comment about it. Okay, so to me, I'm really excited about it, but it's also key to talk about experience. Experience shapes your view, right?
Yeah.
So a girl who's been abused by a lot of different men, she's gonna have a very cynical leaning view towards men. A man who's been cheated by business partners will have a very cynical view about having potential business partners. So it's also unique to talk about we have to be honest.
Yeah.
Nobody here is 100% objective. That's one of my arguments always with red pill stuff. They say they're speaking the truth. You're not a robot. You know, you have your biases, right? Call it for what it is. We all have our biases. I have biases. You have biases. Coach has biases. As much as we think we are, we have to be 100% honest to the people about our biases. If I'm an individual and I was divorced and I had a difficult experience via marriage, I'm going to have a biased opinion via marriage. Allie has a positive experience with marriage. So she's going to have a bias towards, well, great marriages can work, right? So similar to me, the people I admire the most, the people I look up to are married people. Patrick Bet-David, Jordan Peterson, my father, Pastor Mark Driscoll, people who I look up to the most, right? Long-term marriages, the people that I celebrate a lot. Long-term marriages. My father and mother have been married for over 30 years. Great, healthy marriage. So that's my opinion. My Pastor Heidi Lewis, been married over 25 years. So that's my worldview. And so to me, hearing what he's sharing, there is truth in that. Everything what everyone's going to share is going to be truth in it. Yes, if you like, my dad told me a very powerful point. I love my father. He's such a wise older man. He said the most important decision you'll ever make in your life is the one you marry, and it can go one of two ways. And this is what I want the guys to understand.
Before we go too far, Tommy, what you think about that last statement you said? And then anything you come on
Nigga
anything.
named two non-black dudes. That part was fucking hilarious. But this is my problem when people do that. You don't know what the fuck happens when they close that door, nigga. You only know what they present to you. And as we know, people present the best of the best to you. So you don't know what the hell. I'm gonna keep it 100. You barely know what the fuck going on with your own motherfucking parents. How many people, when their parents get divorced, didn't see it coming?
Right.
So, let's just keep it 100. Everybody you named, you don't know. You don't know the details of those marriages. I'm pretty sure Coach Greg Adams wasn't presenting his marriage as fucked up when he was going out into the public. So, I get what he's saying about the people he looked up to are married, but he should have stopped at married, not happily married, because you don't know what the fuck they are behind them closed doors.
Right. And
Tom Brady was just happily married.
right, just now. Like Josh long ago. Now what is the divorce coming with them?
Shit, they already divorced. That shit already final and everything.
Damn. So Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think there is a place where who you marry is extremely important. Well, you know, is extremely important. I've experienced that. Like I've locked up with my son's mom. You know, going in that direction, and she was horrendous when it came to being successful in business. She really will keep you from doing that. So that's right in that regard. But everybody is not trying to be in business, and some of these guys that are in business and that making the type of money they want to make. Some of them are athletes. Some of them just blue collar people. It really doesn't fucking matter who I'm fucking because I'm really good at that skill. So um, that shit was trash. Period. The thing that was worse than that was he's trying to frame having a bias as a disqualifier. Just because you have a bias, that's supposed to always yield to some other opinion. No, I don't care about opinion. It's about principle. It's not even like he said it. He prefaced it with experience. Okay, if you have 1 year experience like he does with marriage, or you got 20-year experience, if you got 20-year experience at being trash and I got 1 year experience at being better, all that matters is or being principally sound, all that matters is the principle. That's why I was saying the other day, I forgot what show I was on. I don't care about positive or negative, I care about accuracy. Who's accurate? That's all that's gonna matter. You can work on a car for 20 years, try to get it right. If you don't have accurate information, the bitch not gonna start. So it's not just experience, which was his him trying to walk into the bias conversation. So you frame it with something that's not true. You can't start with experience as being the most important thing. But what's the most important thing is the first principle as it relates to that thing. And the people don't know how to really think. So I use this as an opportunity to let's see what I see so we can actually put this in people's head to start listening to what people are saying, and so you can start seeing what's missing. Where's the system in which you speak? I always come from a universal law standpoint because that's what I was taught. Cause and effect. Turns out that that's how it worked. When I went to finances, the words and the terms changed. It was principal and interest. But it operates the same exact way. So I come from a principal causation standpoint, and I move from a principal to an interest standpoint, right? And I move from a causation to an effect standpoint. I do the same thing everywhere. That shit he talking about, just experience, that's not the fundamental basis of a marriage. What does the word mean? What is it based off of? What is the purpose of marriage? Can't just be experience. So when Coach Greg Adams, I guess that was his attempt to rebuttal Coach Greg Adams's point when he was talking about, yeah, you know, we coming from the fact that at the end of the day, these men are left alone. These same people that were saying, yeah, go get married, go get married, go get married. When you're when the shit fail, you by yourself. So he wants to, Hafeez has isolated those guys as if they're all wrong and their bias is the only reason they're speaking. No, it could just be facts about marriage today in North America. And that's what I see so far. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have a clip that I remember out of it.
Well, and majority rules. So no matter what you experience in your small world, if you can be an outlier, and I think that's the problem with a lot of people is when they're outliers, they don't understand that, and they don't understand the fact that what happened with your experience wasn't normal, and that most people's experience is this, and majority rules. If majority of the people have this experience, then that's how you identify yourself as an outlier, because your experience isn't like the average person's experience.
Thanks. That's why I go on my way to coming from the hood to say I'm different. I've watched dudes not be able to do what I do and not get what I get to help me do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So I survive, they don't. I get it. I can't be like, yeah, everybody should do it because I'm doing it. That's completely disrespectful. Depending on what part of the block you live on, that may be the part of the block that the cops raid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. So yeah, let's run through this a little more.
We're not teaching naivete, which is, oh, marriage is a perfect thing and you just meet the one and live happily ever after. And there's no issues, there's no divorces. Right. We're not teaching naivete. Marriage can be the worst thing in your life. It can be an absolute living hell. And I guarantee you, you can go for days and for days, and you know so many different stories about people which marriage is an absolute living hell. But we don't want to teach being naive about the realities. But also, we don't want to teach nihilism. Right? The other end of the extreme. Marriage is the worst thing possible, and women are out to get your money, and everyone's miserable, and everybody's roommates, and everybody's this. Because there are some individuals, such as what Alex communicated, who are in happy, healthy long-term marriage, right? So you don't want to be naive.
Bang.
You want to be nihilistic. You want to be as real as possible. Give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my biggest thing is that
Bang,
I understand that
bang,
marriage
bang,
is a very difficult thing to get right. And the same thing is like, I love how what you do is marriage and money, right? I think we're gonna be talking about those two things today. Adam, you're a 1% man financially, right? That means 99% of people are trying to get to where Adam is. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. They're struggling.
Yep.
Their lives suck when it comes to money. Most people are struggling, but they're trying to get where you are. That's how I view relationships. Most people are in really sucky relationship.
Yeah.
Most people, it's a day-to-day war, hell, the way work is, the way the gym is. But then there are some people who are having it at the highest of level. The same way nobody says, oh, well, most people are not going to be in the 1%, so screw it. You should even try. It's, you know, 90% of businesses end in 10 years. You should even try. We say, if somebody's going to succeed, why not you? Which is why I love what you're doing. If someone's going to be rich, why not you? If someone's going to make money, why not you? If someone's going to have a great podcast, why not you? So for me, I acknowledge that the top of the mountain is rare. I acknowledge that. But what I also acknowledge is that if somebody's going to win, why not it be you? And how?
Okay. All right.
Everybody's not trying to be a 1% earner, so that's all.
Okay. I see what this is. Okay. All right. Okay. There's a dramatic difference between the self-help community, prosperity church thing, and law. The problems we have with marriage is about law. Y'all are convoluting these two things. Y'all keep saying conflate when it's convoluting. Keep convoluting these two things. What he's talking about, that rah-rah, buying at you, that is because the again, Jesus Christ. The foundation of his understanding is experience, is not principle. When you're doing that rah-rah stuff, somebody could be a millionaire. You can be the one that can have the house. You could be you could be your business. That is because it's based off money in capitalism, which is a free market. It's not a free market in law. You don't have to lobby to go start a business. You got to lobby to change the law. They're not the same. They're two different conversations. Like, it's so irresponsible, this shit that he's doing right now. This prosperity bullshit or this rah-rah positive thinking bullshit about something that's literal. It's literal. Like, people may not like Coach Greg Adams' stance and how he's saying it, but in the end of the day, these things are written in stone. And then what's crazy is, if it was just that, it'd be fine. But then you got to deal with the arbitration and the arbitrary decisions that judges make, which affects their pockets, like Bishop Palmer will be talking about all the time when it comes to child support, child custody, and alimony. And people go, think it's personal when it's not personal. It's just like they got a certain amount of number and they're going to get what they get, just like any other organization. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with the court system and the laws as it relates to marriage, as distinguished from free market enterprise and capitalism. These are not the same conversation. Why not you? Yeah, get up in the early. I was just talking about that. Get up early, go make another sale, make another phone call. That's not the same when it comes to how am I going to protect myself from marriage? How am I going to protect myself from this country from marriage? Because I brought marriage up on this channel, and I'll bring it up again in terms of what the word means. When you look up the word for marriage, government isn't in it. Church isn't in it. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Anything outside of that is not marriage. So you're talking about marriage. Let's make it specific. If you have a marriage certificate, you are not married. You're in an orgy. You're in a polygamous relationship. It's you, the state, and your spouse. I will trash any attorney, any judge, in any country at any time. Please come up here. A marriage certificate with the state is not a marriage. So this is what's stupid about this process, about the shit that he's saying. It's so distinctly separate, and it's irritating me. That's why I had to start with, I see what's going on here. When you find something that allows you to be free financially, you feel like you're on top of the world, right? I'll use that word "feel" because when I first learned it, I felt great. Then you're young, you're new, and you don't know. In your mind, you really think this will work everywhere. That doesn't work over here. It doesn't work in the law world. It's not free enterprise when it comes to the law world. And I can pretty much guess on how the rest of this conversation is going to go. It's going to be really stupid. Yeah, it's going to be really bad because that's the problem. That's something he needed to hear as he was doing all this bullshit. XL Pro says, my parents was married 50 years. It's a roller coaster ride for most people. That's a fact. Sporties call him a nervous noodle certified cornball. All that's facts. What's going on, Natasha Vincent? Natasha said, what's up, Tommy?
Hey, Natasha.
He said, just splaining in. Savannah says his nonstop hand gestures are giving me motion sickness. That shit, that nigga like signaling. He's signaling a damn blimp. All that shit, man, bringing in a fucking plane. I've never seen Jenny clap this many times. So Jenny said he used to swat and oh my God. CGA calls it, Coach Greg Adams calls it a hope strategy. I don't know his name. Black Heart Rebel. He said, oh, please, heterosexuals don't fucking abide by a marriage. I don't know what you're talking about. You about to get blocked. Yeah, just, go ahead and block that gay thing. Get that shit the fuck up out of here. Is it blocked?
So gays, dude? What the fuck?
I don't know. Get that bitch out of here. Okay, back to business. I think it's already blocked.
How can we help as many men as possible get there? Everybody won't be able to get there, but how many people can we help get there? And that's what, to me, matters the most.
Gotcha.
Preach. I love that.
Now, when you hear something like this, obviously he's sort of saying, all right, I hear you, coach. Your marriage didn't work. You got out, thank God, before the 10-year mark. So you'd probably be a little bit more spiteful than you are. I'm not saying that you're spiteful, but you'd be even more spiteful if you're paying a ridiculous amount of alimony and everything that you've been paying. But is there anything wrong with that if he's saying? He's basically saying, I hear you, coach. It ain't easy out there, brother. Like, life's tough. Marriage is tough. Making money is tough. Things are tough. But don't tell me that I shouldn't get married, or don't tell me that I can't have a successful marriage. How do you process that?
I don't think anyone says do not get married. I think they caution people to say do not get married. If I say do not get married without leverage, that is a position, right, that you can change. Thus, if you read my book, it says once you get to that position, you can then make the decision. You'll probably come out better than going in it without it. However, this is what I will always say. When men do find that solution does not work out, they are left alone. There's nobody to help them. So people encourage people, hey, why not? Give it a try. But when you go bankrupt, when you lose your kids, when your kids are taken from you, when the courts kind of punish you for making this decision, or punishes you for being a slightly better, higher earner, then nobody's there with information. Nobody's there with context. No one's there to help them. And I believe, not feel, I know, understand, believe, and I have evidence to show that men are left alone when they don't succeed in this endeavor. And that is the void that I feel.
Natasha said nervous is a great way to describe this gentleman's body language and speech pace. And I agree with it. We got Zone in the building. I know this your guy. What's up, Zone?
He knows he's outclassed.
Facts.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? Salute to the chat. What's popping?
Nigga, you was not 30 in 94. I'm still on that, nigga.
Hey, man, I got a time machine. I got a
No, when
time
this
machine.
nigga said he was 30 in 94, I said, this nigga get the fuck out.
Are you talking about zone?
Yeah.
I was 30 plus 30 minus 24
Right.
plus 10 minus 7 divided by 2.
This nigga a vampire.
Yeah.
What you think so far? I know this shit guy. I know you watch Coach Greg Adams, right?
Oh yeah, man. Religiously, man. Shout out to CGA, the Coach Gang. We got one of the Coach Gang members in here, J. Ali. Yeah, man. Hey, it's gonna be hard to top what Coach is saying for the simple fact that, I mean, he was married. Not only was he married in California. Not only was he married in California, he was married in Orange County, which is one of the richest counties in California. I mean, he's been in and out of court for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he got the full wisdom, he got the full knowledge. So I mean, thus far, everything that I've been hearing, Coach is on point.
Yeah, let's get to it. I'm liking it.
Because I can tell you, hey, men are alone in this situation. Men are homeless. Men are thinking about eating guns. Men are thinking about they have no way out. Men are losing big time, and we're losing a fraction of men due to manipulation, due to people trying to, they may be hurt. A woman might be hurt in a marriage, or she might feel that she's not being appreciated, and then she throws a grenade in the room. What happens then? See, that's where I come in. I get to show you what happens when the grenade is there. And I also encourage you, you're not alone.
Hey, younger guys, pay attention to that, because Coach Greg Adams did something that Kevin Samuels did very, very well. He isolated his market and he specialized his message. It's not for everybody. People think because a person gets big that means that they're for everybody. No. Ferrari is big. Ferrari is not for a family of 6. It's not for a family of 3.
Ferrari is for a nigga that make $50K a year.
It's not for a nigga that make $50K a year. Facts. You know what I'm saying? It's big, it's popular, and it's known, but it's not for everybody. So Coach Greg Adams just said, I'm not for everybody. I come in when this and this and this happens. So you have to understand this in conversation, and you have to understand this mentally to do real compartmentalization, whereas it's not really compartmentalization. It's just understanding the specificities and recognizing what's for what. I just call it the 5 W's and how. You know what I mean? Who, what, when, where, why, how. The guys that have gone through it, that's where I came in. So, of course, it's going to be, I'm Coach Greg Adams. I'm 40, well, I think he's about 50 plus. I've been down this road, and don't get married without leverage. It, like you just said, Zone, it's going to be really hard to rebut what he's saying, because the stats is going to back him up. The way he's framing it is pretty cool. That's why I kind of rebut when people start bringing up Kevin Samuels. When Kevin Samuels bring up the rating, it's like they forget that, one, he did designer labels, and he probably got a little kickback from doing some of them designer labels. And when he was doing his specific show, yeah, y'all can't use 7 when you're rating because it messes up the shit, because y'all pick 7. And forgetting that's what he said, not that there's no 7s. It's kind of stupid. Why wouldn't it be no 4s then? You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand the framing. Oh, Coach Gray, I'm 47. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I seen the gray, but my shit, I'm starting to gray too. I'm 37, so I might look like I'm 47. But yeah, man, that shit crazy to me. That people miss that. But this is very important to listen to how he's framing it, and how it'll work in the debate is when you kind of give people enough to go, okay. So if they get into an argument, because I already know what kind of was gonna come later, because I've seen that, but I haven't really watched this through. I just recorded and walked away and came back, so we can do this blind review together. And yeah, it's gonna get bad from this point, because then I know how to deal with them, and I'm not gonna. It's no reason to argue, because the facts are the facts are the facts. Most of these older guys have been married. Like, yeah, this shit was bullshit. Maybe you'll get 2 guys out of 8. I'm sorry, 2 guys out of 10 that'll be like, yeah, it's a great marriage. But then he's usually a spineless bitch, and that does whatever the girls tell him to do. She run to him, tell him, hurry up, get in the store. I gotta get my. I don't want to be like that nigga. But he got a Mercedes. Fuck him and that Mercedes. I'm not trying to be a bitch my whole life. The big head old lady.
A lot of people come to my content and they find out, oh, you too? See, before, as I said, 70 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, there was nobody presenting this side of the argument.
This side, I see what you're saying.
This right
with
here.
that.
Nobody, they just left men alone and they said, well, you must not have been hitting it right, or you must not have loved her right, or you must have abused the kids. That's what she said. She said that you were, and nobody came to this position. So listen, there was a void open and I ran right through the
so
hole.
when you talk about leverage, break down what you mean by leverage. Are you talking about in a marriage before you get married? Are you talking about a prenup? You're talking about a set of rules, guidelines? What's this leverage you're referring to?
Well, a lot of men, a lot of men are looking to be loved, right? So a lot of men, the transaction is always men give, women receive. So in this instance, once men do a lot of giving, they may sacrifice, they may risk things, but they're risking the little things that they have. They don't know what they're going to lose in the future, right? So by that point, they will probably avoid a prenup. They might say, I don't need a prenup. I don't have anything. Right. And so he'll get married. He'll build some things. Once the commitment is made and once the investment is made, then he has something. So then when they say, well, you better love her right, you better screw her right, you better appreciate her right, and he says, well, it's still not working, she's not happy. Well, then he knows he can measure how much he's going to lose because he now has leverage, but the leverage is attached to a marital contract. And then at that point, he can say, well, I don't want to lose my 2 or 3 kids. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose my car. He knows then, and also he has no protection. He didn't get a prenup because he didn't have leverage. This is what a lot of young men in their 20s don't understand because they don't know what they're going to lose. They can't measure it. Once you're 40 and you've accumulated things and you have leverage, you have position at a company, and a woman says, hey, I want to marry you. And you will know what you're going to lose. And at that point, you can make a conscious decision whether they engage in a state-funded marital contract. Yeah. That's leverage. Most men get married without the leverage.
Did you?
What do y'all think about that explanation?
He said nothing wrong.
Flawless.
Shout out to Moose Locks on TLA. Y'all seen that? You see that World Class?
No.
Oh, well basically Moose Locks is, maybe some people in the chat may have seen it. I don't know, but Moose Locks is a guy who will call in the TLA show every few months. From what I understand, he's currently engaged. Moose Locks is I think he's like a chemical engineer or like some type of scientist or something, black dude. And every time he calls in, TLA is asking him, did you sign it yet? Did you make her sign it yet? Talking about his fiance signing the prenup. And he's like, no, I haven't made her sign it yet. You know what I'm saying? So everything, I mean, when you work so hard to become a scientist, somebody that, has that type of status in society, and you finally supposedly meet the woman of your life only to make it that far and not take the proper precautions, that's sad. You know what I mean? Like I agree. And I'm gonna take it a step further. Being in a long-term relationship without proper documentation as well, you could still end up losing a lot of stuff, losing your house and losing, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think what he said was, you know what I'm saying, spot on. You gotta think smart and not emotion. Just don't be all up in your emotions like that.
Yeah, he that nigga a dumbass. Moose Nuts, whatever the name is. He's stupid. He need to grow some. He don't want his money. Then he's just gotta grow some balls, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You should when you get time, you should go take a look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was just sent it, so now I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out. He's an idiot. He deserves to lose all his money because you said how many months was that? it goes by.
Was that?
How many months did you say went by from the first time TLA told him to get a prenup and he didn't?
Oh man, I feel like it's been like 6 months because I remember seeing this dude like at the beginning of the year.
He's an idiot.
And yeah, and then he just called in recently last month. So I feel like probably 6. But Moose Locks has been calling in the TLA longer than that. It's just that I'm hearing about this Moose Lock situation like just recently though.
I don't want to get off track, but guys like that don't deserve to be in a don't deserve. They're not good enough to be married to nobody else's daughter. Like you're not no, Sporties. His name is Moose Nuts.
Hey, wait, and I apologize. Hey, what I see Natasha Vincent did some type of equation. What did she do? She tried to say my math is wrong. It probably is. You know what I'm saying?
No, she just she didn't put a
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
a guy like that doesn't have the balls to make the decision to do what he needs to do. I don't know. I mean, this is why this high value man shit blows up in its own face because I get paid a lot at work. That don't mean you high value. You're spineless. You're dominated by a chick every day.
It's the same as the nigga trying to do a live to his millions of followers and is arguing with some bitch he just met to shut the fuck up. See, that's the funny part is, see, they could put on these suits, they can make this money, but you still that same nigga that you are.
Right.
You still gonna let this goofy bitch sit in the back of your live and disturb your show instead of kicking her funky ass out. You know what I'm saying? You still gonna be scared to death to ask your fiance to sign this piece of paper to protect yourself. So you could dress it up with all of this money, all of these suits, all of this candor, all of this status, but you still that pussy ass nigga. Sorry.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Or go into it looking at, I'm gonna just give her half because I ain't having when she had it, and don't whine or don't complain. Right? I mean, you can do that. We built it. I'm gonna suffer what the state want to do, but I don't know why you would do that either. But that nigga needs to be single. But she found a sucker, and that's a lick, and her heist is gonna be successful. That's all I can say about that. That's some bitch ass shit. Savannah said it was at least 4 months. No, his name is Moose Nuts. So you don't got it right. Moose Nuts. Natasha said he's afraid of losing a lady, perhaps. If he's afraid of losing the lady for something that's respectable to him, he's a bitch because you're not afraid of losing respect for yourself.
Well, Natasha, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The moment that you're afraid to lose the lady is the moment you lost the lady. Relationships where dudes are afraid to lose the lady, 100% are controlled by the lady.
Bang, 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 bang.
Period.
Marco.
Yeah.
Dom the Marco. Dom the Marco. Shit like that.
Bodie said about to get me a surrogate and have 3 kids. Yeah. He definitely afraid to lose, and that's a sad thing to watch a spineless male. It's pretty sad, bro. But you don't give a fuck about you, neither would I.
All right. I'm sorry, I got lost in a train of thought of just all that goodness I just heard. Washed.
They would be fools to resist my divine power. His death was a necessary loss. Soon I will have a new apprentice, one far younger and more powerful. Remember, when a king is loved as I am, much can be accomplished.
We didn't do this because we like you. We did this because we are you.
Boom, the world class.